Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy addressing world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly today, warning of what he calls the most destructive arms race in history as Russia continues its invasion of Ukraine.
Russia's war has put us in this situation, but do you have protection against similar threats? The facts are simple. Stopping this war now, and with it, the global arms race, is cheaper than building underground kindergartens or massive bunkers for critical infrastructure later.
Zelensky's message comes after he praised President Trump for his change in tone over the war in Ukraine, adding the two held a, quote, productive meeting on Tuesday. ABC News Chief Foreign Correspondent Ian Pannell is following the story and has the latest for us in London. Ian?
Yeah, hi, Kana. An impassioned and strong speech by President Zelenskyy addressing other world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly there in New York. Zelenskyy kind of lamenting what he said was the triumph of violence and weapons. He said that stopping drones in particular had become the hardest of all aspects of warfare. He said that drones don't care about geography, that they don't cost much to make. They're capable of destroying weapon systems that cost millions and millions of dollars, and they're now capable of flying thousands of miles, irrespective of national borders, warning that Ukraine is on the front line here. But we've seen this rapid development of drones, and the rest of the world has to wake up to this threat, that it isn't just a threat for Ukraine, it will become a threat to everyone. Remember, President Trump speaking at the UN and then posting on social media afterwards, abandoning this long-held insistence that Ukraine would have to hand over some of its territory in exchange for peace. He now claimed, after talking with President Zelenskyy, that with the support of Europe, notably not with the support of the US, that Ukraine was in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. The Kremlin dismissing that, saying it continues what it still calls a special military operation, insisting that there is no alternative. So maybe a little added pressure on Vladimir Putin, but we have to wait and see whether President Trump's new tone transfers or translates into real action or not. Kana?
Ian Pannell, our thanks to you as always. I'm now joined by Norwegian Refugee Council Secretary Jan Egeland. Thank you so much for being here with us, Jan. And as you're watching the speeches coming out of the UN General Assembly, do you think that it helps or that it hurts President Zelenskyy for President Trump to be negotiating all of this really so publicly?
I think he has little option, really. He is leading his nation in its darkest hour, and he needs to be a little bit like Churchill, fight for both international public opinion and his own public opinion. I think he's doing an outstanding job for his people. And what he says is this war needs to be brought to an end. I've been to Ukraine many times. The devastation is just beyond belief in all of eastern and southern and northern Ukraine now.
It certainly is, and there's a lot of talk about the territory here coming up, but also, do you think that the U.S. will implement additional Russian sanctions if other European countries don't end their purchases of Russian oil and gas?
Well, I'm a Norwegian. We're providing oil and gas to Europe, and the Europeans are now limiting all the purchases from Russia. But I would say that it is not easy to turn this off overnight. But if there's a united pressure from the United States and from Europe, this war will, I think, be brought to an end.
Is it counterproductive, though, for the United States to be making these threats against other European countries instead of focusing on what the U.S. could do immediately against Russia?
Yeah, I think it doesn't help that allies have tension and have an argument against each other. It would be better if there was a united effort. As a humanitarian worker, we see the effects on families, on civilians. I mean, just like in Gaza, the hospitals are being bombed, the civilian housing is being bombed, international law is broken every single day, and there has to be a united effort to bring this to an end.
There's been a lot of talk about other countries that support Palestinian statehood. Do you agree with Italy's standing that Hamas cannot be involved for them to support Palestinian statehood?
Yeah, I mean, Hamas disqualified themselves on the 7th of October. I think we all agree on that. Hamas is not going to be part of this, but Hamas is not the Palestinian people. There were a few thousand men who went into Israel on the 7th of October. Since then, 65,000 civilians have been killed by the Israeli military campaign. This is long beyond what happened on the 7th of October. We need to bring this to an end, for the sake of the children of Palestine, but also of the children of Israel that do not deserve to live, in perpetual conflict with their neighbors.
Certainly not. Jan Egeland, thank you so much for being here with us today. We appreciate your time greatly.